The Pale is not, technically speaking, part of reality.
Yes. Also, I think we've had enough excitement for today. We do have a case to attend to.
His voice is low, but firm. All she can say is,
Of course, Lieutenant. Let's try something else. I don't think your colleague would appreciate that. He has already been so patient with this whole exercise. Let's continue with something else, all right? You can ask about anything else in the world. Anything.
you could sneak back later when the lieutenant is not here, unless you can convince him to step aside. Good idea. Just ask him. He won't make a scene.
Fine.
See? What can he do? You're a grown man.
Are you sure you're sure? Your colleague seemed adamant. Okay. The Pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, Detective. The separative tissue between the islas. It is the inter-islary mass. Isla is a Messinian word for a continent of matter, enveloped on all sides by the Pale. Also, isolation, or landmass. We used to believe there was only one. In the last 4 centuries, we have discovered 7. Mundi, Seol, Samara, Ilmara, Grad, Katla, and this, Insulinde. An oceanic isla. It comprises mostly of water. Muindi is the largest, Katla the coldest, Insulinde the bluest. What can I say? Each is perishing and dear. Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The Pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other, or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness. No, Detective. We're safe. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north, and even more to the south, east, and west. You are in the middle of the Isla.
As your gaze instinctively turns north, a small black pit opens up in your stomach.
Yes. That is enough. Many cities are built much closer. An uproar of matter, darling. Rising into the Pale. Rolling. Evaporating even. A great vision. The area of transition between the world and the Pale is called Porch Collapse. Imagine a grey coronal mist, cold vapor marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism, a mold that's adapted to grow at the edge of the unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see.
You hear your pulse rise. The air feels caustic and cold suddenly.
It's difficult to describe, or even measure. Something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic. The further into Pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension, right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working. No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible. Oh, it is so difficult for us.
A squall of birds. Hardware operating in the harbor. Firm. Self-evident.
It is possible to force dimensions on the Pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude, bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path. But it is still hard for humans to navigate the Pale without getting lost, or having our minds damaged. Extensively. Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation. Others argue that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading, that it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter. They call it the blend over of the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of psychology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past. It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travelers to 6 days of Pale exposure per year.
It's more for her. Way more.
No, nameless detective of the Citizens Militia. I am a member of the Entreprenetic Business Class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of Pale transit annually.
Perhaps that explains her strange pining after the revolution. Some degraded early memories. Someone else you've met may have been exposed as well. The strange grey-haired woman in her lorry.
Yes, carried in the hulls of airships. It's a horrific job. Automation will abolish it soon.
You should ask the Pale driver about this. See what she says. That poor woman must have stories to tell, like you wouldn't imagine.
Up to my gills, officer. Entreprenetics is the scientific study of the Pale, or a recent iteration of it by way of grad. The study of the Pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Pericarnassians called it the Western Plain. There are signs of pre-modern crossings. Successful navigation of the Pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years. Nothing. We remain powerless before the Pale. The only real advance in Pale transit is the speed with which an aerostatic craft can pierce it. Less exposure leads to less effects later. Hybrid airships, detective. Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near Pale to far Pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end. If we throw them precisely. Then they don't.
Gone, like a skipping stone beneath the surface.
The Pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more Pale than there is matter, and the ratio is slipping. What do you think, detective? Precisely. One of the few measurable effects of the Pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate. An intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the Pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists. Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, entire civilizations and religions even, find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge. I suggest you do the same.
Off we go. You see the hanged man's mouth open.
One and all. They say Pale is death, but for the universe.
Why should we just leave, and the world get left behind?
Yes, sweet reality. But before we do, tell me, detective, is this the first time you're hearing this? Do you really not remember anything? Beyond curious. Tell me, what do you think of the Pale? You really didn't know. This does not spell good for the investigation, detective. If you don't know even this, then... Your colleague, Lieutenant Kisaragi, is competent. I checked up on him. And you have me. I will try to assist you in any way I can.
Some of that assurance is meant for herself, as much as it's meant for you. She must have a lot on the line here.
Even if we have to do it one basic term at a time.
Good. You have not passed out from it. Perhaps I worried for nothing. Are we still on the reality lowdown, or should we do actual police work now?
Good luck, detectives.
Wow, you work hard. Oh, yes, you hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you keep it real and provide. Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000 steps down cracked asphalt, mosaic, sand, and linoleum after you re-emerged. That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way, and you won't let it break you. You ride. That's just what it's like, life and death. But you got gills on your side, baby. Got those black papers with the faces of the innocents on them. You bring in the Franco-Negros and the Solas. It ain't easy, but you do it, day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop, and a sprinter, and a money printer. Oh yeah, you took that bribe hard. You're a killer. Can't say that. You shook him. You're a killer. A shark. Yeah, you're in the sales business. Shake 'em for shit and then pawn it off. Law officer style. Sure. And has it been easy? Is life easy? Have you not gone into cardiac arrest? Are you not about to have an anxiety attack or shoot yourself in the mouth? But you still hustle 24/7, ride or die. Now, ask yourself, are you rich? Get out of here. You're a pauper. You work harder than anyone. Almost rode yourself to the grave, and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that? The Guardsman has set himself up one of those self-replicating money structures. You should learn from it. Don't play the victim. Think hustler. Think with your head. That's right. 100%. Fucking G-Man's got his jam-covered sticky fingers in your pocket, stealing from you every time you buy, sell, walk, talk, fart, so much as sneeze. Every time you wipe your ass, they got their direct and their indirect modes of taxation. Sales tax, excise duty, extraction tax, alimony. One tax that doesn't even have a name. Plus there's the stuff people in other countries pay for. That makes them ask for more money from you. Here, total tax duties add up to 98% of all your money. What are you not sure about? They're milking your nipples till they bleed. Can't you see? Aren't you sick and tired of having bloody nipples? Here you go, hustler. Fight the righteous fight. Free the people. Keep it real. Keep it street. Keep foaming at the mouth furiously on the tax issue. Revacholian nationhood. The Revacholian state will be a serene place. You should get a drink. A beautiful, serene place of mystery and peace. It will not be a place for women to infect with their frailty and hysterics, or where the Seminese will be allowed to wear their pants around their ankles. All of that will go. once you get a drink. The socialist professors at the École Supérieure will be fired. The editors of Trompe le Monde will have to beg in the streets. You'll pour beer into their begging hats and laugh. You should get a beer. Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. Because you see it, finally. This wall is sublime. Look at it. The shadows, the colors. All the other walls on all the other houses must make a pilgrimage in adoration of this, the uncontested pinnacle of wallcraft, color peeled from the very face of God. O Wall Father. Huh? He sounds tired of it all.
Sure. I suppose we have to pass by it again at some point anyway.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
What for? What do you think I'm trying to paint here? A mural for a better tomorrow? Why do you really need it? But boring. You're not using my lovely brush to spread boredom. I ain't helping no pigs fool honest, upstanding citizens. I'm not an antisocial element. Well, if it's for art, but what kind of art are we talking about? Sounds like you're just about to live out your self-pity, not make a statement. I can't have shit art on my conscience. Yeah, not gonna hold my breath, Piggy. You look like you'd suck. Everything really.
They do say the painter always paints his own portrait. No, it's great.
That's pretty fucked up. Even for you, piggo.
Stop quivering like jello, then you won't get fucked. I think everyone would rather you didn't. You're a real sad sack. You know that? Go ahead then. Art it up. Just try not to hurt yourself. And no self-portraits. Oh, but I'm all out of fuel oil.
You know what you should be able to find in your government-issued vehicle? Red-dyed heavy fuel oil. Are you kidding me? Fuel oil is so much cooler. No way you're disfiguring that beautiful wall with something as pedestrian as ordinary paint.
My fuel oil is for my kinema. Use your own fuel if you are unable to contain your artistic impulses, but please, leave my kinema out of it.
The woman is still hunched over the railing, her head swaying to the music, her eyes looking at nothing in particular.
Huh? What is it? What do you want? And what is that?
Great. He asked the Pines rep about the bail, and now he's talking to everyone about it. Fine then. Just try not to black out again, and don't contemplate. We don't have time for that.
It's death, but for the universe, oh, we're contemplating the living shit out of this.
That is exactly what I didn't want you to think. Ma'am, my partner wanted to know if you work in Pale Transport.
No offense. But your partner? Seems like a bit of an idiot. Like Gabriel Buenguerro in Segúreme, Paraíso. You're the opposite of me, then. I remember everything, even the things I never knew. The smell of liquor on Gabriel's lips after the shoot, in the motor park. The roses on the day of Franco Negro's coronation, on the grand stairs of Ryle. The smoke from the Fowling piece when Dolores Day was shot. The look on her face, like an orgasm. The wound in her chest, my hand in my father's hand. Except I never had a father, and I never shot her innocent Dolores Day. Heroic doses, River, heroic. Thought insertion, dithering, the Grad Catalan Magistral. It's more than dangerous, it's sad. But at first I had to make a living. Now, when you've seen it all go away like that, rolling off like the sea, and then come back to this? What are we doing here? For thousands of years, Gabriel. It doesn't have to be like this. We can just give up. We can just become a vapor. Like looking into the ocean at night, in the dark. You cannot see it, but you know it's there. And it's big, bigger than anything. Bigger than all the other things combined. Nothing. Until it starts. When you are deep enough. Then, for me, it's like autumn. Dark, gray, and orange. The orange of street lights and the color of streets and electric light. It smells like autumn too. It smells terrible.
Nostalgia. Cooped up in the cabin, shaking. Terrible nostalgia. For yourself. For humans. It's too much to bear. She loves it.
In the belly of an airship, behind the cell windows. So you don't look straight into it. It's not advised to look into it. No, the same one, a roller. They all are nowadays. Special wheels for connecting to the floor of the hold.
The wheels all small and round, multi-axle trailers.
Yes. They say there's a point, one that I have not crossed. In the Pale, super deep. If you stray too far, of course, on the U41A, or in Lomonosov's land, where every step you take is one step further from home, no matter the direction. It's a point you cannot come back from. Your mind becomes so radiant with the past, there is a flip. Instead of writing, it erases memory, nearing some kind of indescribable finale. Maybe you've been down the motorway south? It's a story as lone horsemen tell. Lone horsemen, Jerife, not Pale drivers. Way beyond the established Pale that's lit by radio frequencies, where it goes silent and dark. And the process begins, erasure, kilometer by kilometer, in any direction. The motorway south is a road you cannot come back from. No one knows what's at the end. I've only glimpsed the beginning. I've only felt it in the distance, when I was a child. A child rowing on the lake. Josiana.
There is nothing more to do now. She's far away. She is receding in the clutches of some indescribable scattered emotion. A child descending.
You've fried both your brains enough for today, Detective. Let's get some air. This one's far gone.
Overproductive honor glands. Here it is. It's titled Honor for the Brave and goes, I have no family. I make honor my family. I have no home. I make bravery my home. I have no desire. I make dignity my desire. I have no friends. I make humility my friend. I have no enemy. I make dishonor my enemy. This is my vow of honor for the brave. I am brave. Something like that. It's not the words that matter. It's the honor. Medicinal purposes of the Pale. The cover of this heavy tome features a number of esoteric symbols. Flipping through the book, you find a number of sections on the general benefits of the Pale. A large pharmacopoeia makes up nearly half of the book. You come across the following explanation. While modern pharmacopoeia are continually updated by so-called experts based on the results of clinical trials, readers will find assembled here the timeless wisdom relied upon by generations of traditional Seolite medicine practitioners, Mesk mystics, and Ilmaran folk doctors. It's all quackery, in other words. Finally, something to calm the angry spirits that have been plaguing you. It seems to contain descriptions of the medicinal properties of various ingredients that may be gathered from the pale, as well as instructions for producing a variety of herbal remedies. There are a number of zeolite tonics that promise to improve your short-term memory, but nothing that speaks to your condition. What you're describing is booze. You don't need any herbs for that. There's nothing in here that speaks to hangovers directly. However, while browsing through the various descriptions, you become convinced that you could assemble something from the ingredients listed here. Want to give it a shot? First, you need to choose a base ingredient. Next, you'll need to combine the base ingredient with an appropriate vehicle. Lastly, is there anything else you'd like to add? The ginger and aloe vera make this poultice ideal for the treatment of arthritis. It won't do anything for your hangover though. Would you like to try again? You close the book and find yourself staring at the familiar cover once more. Some kind of superstar. They say the world isn't ready for a rock and roll cop. No one wants their state monopoly on violence to be mixed with celebrity worship. They claim to know it would be dangerous for detectives to rise to the ranks of demigods and have sexual encounters with barely legal cover girls. It would be insane, they say. To all this, you say, fuck off and die, in a cool voice. You people have no idea how good these cops are gonna get. They're gonna crack 20 cases a day. In the future, cops will be like astrophysicists, or prime ministers, or prophets. And you're the first one.